Yeah.
All right, sorry about that, guys, but we are back. So yeah, so
What are we like, eh?
I was, I'm not a technical guy either, Danny, so I wouldn't
I
worry
know,
about
nor
it.
am I. Nor am I. I do it all the time, so it's all good. I always chuck myself out of these type of streams. So
You
it's
should
all
have heard me scream my wife then, baby. Come running upstairs. Sort it out,
what's
sort it
going
out.
on?
Oh, nightmare, man. But yeah, like
Nah.
we were saying, so the 23rd, because I must admit, like the world's coming to a boiling point, and with Iran now, what happened over there, and Iran stepping up and calling for Israel to be wiped off, that's obviously going to drag us into the war. So yeah, maybe the 23rd will be the day where we stand.
Yeah, it's got to be. It's got to be the day that we stand for St George. We stand for our culture. We stand for our people. It's none of these wars are on our in our name. It's thousands of miles away, and it could result in our sons and daughters being conscripted or whatever. And I know people are going to say, "Oh, we're not going to do it. We're not going to do it." But if it's conscription, we've seen it in Ukraine. There's nothing nobody can do. Even if you do leave, they'll find you on the way back, and you'll do a lengthy prison sentence. So we need to stop that from happening. But with that war anyway, all it is, and you can see it playing out. They're trying to put a left-wing government in Israel. That is all they want to do because it's more favourable for the Arab countries. So the whole war, all the thousands of people dying, and all of these protests, all it's to do is to put a left-wing government in Israel. And the only left-wing government
Yeah.
really is the Arab list, which is the first Israeli Arab who is in their House of Parliament at the moment. They want him to be, the leader, so he'll be more favourable to the rest of them. So yeah, 23rd, we've got to make a strong stance. We've all got to come down from wherever it is, and we've got to celebrate and allow the establishment to understand that we can come out in numbers, and we're coming out in celebration. There will be a time when, just like the poll tax, the men come out and we made sure that our voices were heard.
Yeah, but nowadays it's not like the old days, is it? Because we've got these this whole engender of are men, are women. What are we now? Like the conversations I have with the youngsters and that, it shocks me and it kind of worries me. It makes me feel very old fashioned as well. But we have this culture now where we see it all the time. Superstar Sam Smith, Harry Styles, they've influenced our young to be very feminine and very, laid back. I don't think any of them have got the spunk nowadays for what's coming. And I'm worried because our Western culture, Russia, a lot of these countries, they look at us and like, what's wrong with the West? Don't they?
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. Is why are they allowing this to happen? Can they not see what's going on? But unfortunately, you can't. But when you're looking back, you can see in hindsight, because you remember, when is it? How old was I? So I must have been about 23. So about 2003, when Russell Brand was very popular and the men started wearing guy liner, and he had man bags, and to get the hottest woman, you had to be in touch with your feminine side. All
Yeah.
of this was the start of the destruction of males. Now I rejected all of that. Yeah, I was looking around like, what are these people on? It's a feminine thing.
Yeah.
But obviously a lot of people didn't. A lot of people embraced it, and it goes down to their kids, and they raise their kids in that way. And all of a sudden we've got, in a situation where are the men? Where
Yeah.
are they? How are we going to get it? Then you get someone like, and I don't care what anyone's positions about Andrew Tate is. I don't care what they've got to say, because at this point in time, there's no actual court case, and he's not being tried by his peers, and there's no guilty or not guilty. So I don't, people will be like, oh, this and the other. But he's speaking out to young men to say, do you know what, rightly or wrongly, don't listen to the media, don't listen to the teachers, and they're trying to feminize you. be the man that you're born to be. The DNA inside you, that testosterone that's running through your system, embrace it. Jordan Peterson said, you know, don't be scared of being a monster. Yeah, be that monster, but know how to tame it. You know, don't erase it, because that's what the men do. And now you got people like Andrew Tate and Jordan Peterson. They're banned from speaking to children. They're banned. You know, Andrew Tate is banned from all the schools. You know, it's censored on the internet. It's just crazy, because they cannot have the kids now growing up after all the gender fluid governments that's going to happen, all the weird madness, to have all of a sudden a generation of mighty strong men that will scare the future governments, and they want to try and stop it.
Well, they say this. I think it's all part of why they treat the veterans the same as well, because like you don't need a bunch of fully trained, able men coming back into society all level-headed. If you can knock them down a peg or two and have them, you know, out of society, so and say, on the streets, and you know, feeling very down and ashamed and whatever feelings and emotions, they're not focused on what's really going. And you know, we all say it, we all look around our cities and see these people on the streets, out and out, but yet we can house boat full of strangers basically that are coming over, you know, and it's, you know, it angers the English people. And then when we go up and we start waving our flags, like I don't know if you saw yesterday on TikTok, that woman who got taken down on the live TikTok, she'd just come out from back surgery, and this copper judo throwed her. There was only no other way to put it. Literally just threw her to the ground, and everyone went berserk. But why have we got this two-tier policing going on? You know, Palestine marches, fine, wave your flags, wave these black flags that we all know what they mean, shout these obscene things, we all know what they mean, but yet as soon as a British flag is waved or held, you're shunned, you're put to one side. And now they're changing it.
Exactly. But I'm of the position that, you know, it's traitorous for somebody to be of this country to be waving another country's flag in honor. It's traitorous. It shouldn't happen. The police should be taking them out as much as they can. You know, we have got a two-tier system. We've allowed that two-tier system to happen. And again, I'm going to be, you know, I'm not going to be soft on them. I'm not going to allow the police to have the upper hand. I'm not going to allow them to abuse the people, because, you know, especially the Metropolitan Police. I understand, and I've done a lot of research into the Metropolitan Police, and I know exactly where they lie, and they know it as well. Okay, so every time they want to try and abuse the people, they are going against the Peeling Code, the Peeling or whatever. Sir Robert Peel, 2 times Home Secretary, 2 times Prime Minister, the person who introduced the Metropolitan Police with a few laws. This is what they're going to be doing. It's not going to be, we're not going to be some army that the government's going to control. We're going to be consented by the people. You know, the police, this is their logo at the start. The police are the people, and the people are the police. You know, so essentially we're policing ourselves, but if we do need the officer, he's going to be about. That's gone out the window.
Yeah.
So now they're a rogue force. It's a rogue force, the Metropolitan Police, because they're under direct control of the Home Secretary, and that's not Mark Rowley, of the UK Home Secretary, and that's something that shouldn't have happened. So we cannot allow the police to come in and take the mick like that. But the more they do that, the easier it is for us on the right and us patriots who are coming out and people standing up to ULEZ, because they're all getting targeted the same. The ULEZ people yesterday, you know, they've done nothing. They are very clever people, right? Putting their bat boxes up, is one of the most amazing things that's happened, right? So these are not people that are ready to fight, okay? But when the police come down, they assumed and they said they're against them, so we're going to use brute force towards them. And they're seeing it now, so they can't be saying to me, Danny, I don't like your behavior. I don't like what you're saying about the police. Let's all work together and let's try and work it out. And, you know, they're only following orders, all that garbage. Now they're saying to me, Danny, you're right. How are we going to stop it?
Well, exactly. And I must admit, Danny, like, on behalf of the British public, I would like to thank you, because I'm a bit late to the game. I'm making a bit of noise now, but I am late to the game. I should have been shouting a long time ago, but I was pretty much like everyone else in this country, terrified of losing what you have and what you've built in your life. But then when you hear Mr. Klaus Schwab say, you will have nothing and you will be happy, well, if I'm going to have nothing, then I'm going to fight for what I have got. You know, there's no point me sitting back no more. If you're telling me I'm going to have nothing, then come and take it as far as I'm concerned, because I'm not giving it up without a fight. I know a lot of people I talk to on TikTok and that, they're not going to give it up without a fight. So, yeah, maybe the only way out of this is full-blown uprising. And I hate to say it because I don't want to see our capital smashed up. I don't want to see people get hurt. And I know it's a two-tier police system, and I know they've got a lot of faults, but we need a police system. We need these systems in place. Otherwise, it is just sheer anarchy on the streets. And none of us want that. But we also don't want to be dragged into World War III. So we've got to, you know, there's a balancing thing here going on, isn't there? You know, the British public are like, well, we want to do something, but we don't really want to smash up our own country to do it. So, you know, we're all looking at each other. Where do we go? Where do, you know? And I know, you know Mr. Tommy Robinson, and he is a figurehead. A lot of people call for him to like lead this country, and I do say, like, I've never met the bloke, and I do fully support him in everything he's done. But to run a country is a big deal, and I don't know if he's got that kind of knowledge behind him, you know, to actually run a country. So I do say to people, like, whoa, hold on a minute. He's great, and we need a man like Tommy. But to actually run a country, I don't know. Maybe we should look elsewhere for that. Run our borders 100%. I think he'd be great at that. But yeah, maybe not run the country. What do you think?
No. You know, it is a big job, and people. Do you know what it is? Right? People are looking at people to guide them to the next one, and they see Tommy has been there for 20 years. Okay, what he was saying in 2009, it's all been true now. What he was saying in 2015 has all become true now. So they know that he right. If you like him or not, it doesn't matter. It's right. What he's talking about. Has it become true? Yes, it all has. You know, yeah. It was even, I can't even remember what it was now. It was something else that, oh yeah, that was it. He said a couple of years ago, they're coming for me, they're going to come for you. It's quite simple. You know, me being a reporter and me doing my job and them taking me off the street, it's going to happen to all of you lot. And it's like, no, it's not going to happen. And now we're seeing it. So I'm saying to people again, now Tommy's right. But that's why people are they look towards him and say, look, we need the solution. But we are in a political game as well. So, you know, that style of an activism and stuff like that probably wouldn't work too much in politics. Even with me, you know, I'm a very, very strong-headed person, and whilst I think that I could cause a stir, and you know, I'd be pretty confident in getting votes for now, because it's in anarchy. But for, you know, in 5-6 years' time, I don't think it would happen, because people will be looking for a strong political figure. But yeah, again,
I think you're right. At the moment, so we need someone like. What do you think of Nigel Farage, for instance? Do you think he could do it?
No, Nigel Farage. We'll go through the whole list. Nigel Farage is very good on Brexit. You know, I owe him all my gratitude for Brexit. But as soon as Brexit happened, he had no fight. He had nothing left to do. He had accomplished what he did. And instead of sitting back and still commentating on Brexit, he went a different direction. And the Dover thing, right, it annoyed me. When I saw him go out on the chartered boat and he was saying, this is the immigrants here, there was the Tracy, TW Media, she's been down there for a long time. You had Active Patriot, you got Steve Laws, all these people down there. He could have gone to them. He could have gone to a lot of people and said, let's bring you in. You've got the knowledge. Let's do this, you know. And he decided not to. He decided to try and take it on himself. About the banking, he didn't say, well, Tommy, Kate, what's her name? Katie Hopkins, all these people, Joey Barton, all these people have got their bank accounts frozen. No, he says it's about him. my bank account's been frozen, I'm going to cause a stink about me. So he's not full of people. So no, he's only there for himself. So if whatever he does now going forward, it's only to enhance himself or enrich himself.
Well, Mrs. Katie Hopkins, she's already said she would never do it, but a lot of people like her now because, you know, she's another kind of female Tommy Robinson. She's been saying it for years. Everyone, you know, oh, bloody, look at this white woman shouting her mouth off, duh, duh, duh. And now look, you know, everyone's saying, oh, she was right.
But you can't. She has been right. You know, she's been right as well. There's a lot of people being right, and now we've got to look at it to say, can we beat this system? Legitimately, can we beat the democratic system that has been in place for over 100 years? No, we can't. We cannot beat it. Now we've got to look into an alternative, actual alternative, radical reform of the UK politics. Now, when I talk about republicanism, I always said this: after the Queen passes, I will never be a monarchist again. I will never support the royal family because I don't support the people who are up in place. Prince Andrew, King Charles, William, Harry. I don't support any of these people. Okay. And they're the ones in charge. So from that on, I'll become a republic. And when you look at the republic, when anyone else, Jamaica, Tonga, all these people, when they leave the Commonwealth, they always become a republic. They don't become a democracy, they become a republic. So I feel personally we have to go to a republic, which will be more like the US system, like the French system, where you're going to be voting for a person, not the party. And that's important. Because at the moment, you might not like Keir Starmer, but Labour's the best person in your area. So you're going to vote Labour, but you hate Keir Starmer. But then it's going to put Keir Starmer in as the Prime Minister. It makes no sense. It literally makes no sense. You know, if you don't want to do that, have a proportionate representation. Another left thing I say to myself, I would never ever go for. But when I think about it, it's going to make my parties, my small patriotic parties, they're going to get seats. They're going to get a lot of seats in a lot of areas, especially up north. So it's a good thing to do. So we need to start looking at these solutions before we can say who's going to run the country, what it's going to do. How do we want the country to be for our daughters? And going back to what you said, you was late to the party. I only do what I do because I've got a very young daughter. You know, before that, I was letting the world pass by. Yeah. All right, we want Brexit. We've got Brexit. I do a little bit of activism online, but you know, that was it. And then it started getting serious, you know. Then we had lockdown. I got my daughter and I was like, nah, I've got to fight now for this, you know, because I can't have her living in a world that's not like mine. And that's where it's going. It's crazy.
I say all the time on my TikToks, like, I'm not here for fame, money. I don't ask for gifts. I don't ask for none of that. What I would like and what I try to do is start the conversation, because like you say, I was the same 2 years ago, walking around fully embedded in the system, too tired to raise my head up to actually have a look to, you know, what's going on. And it was the Ukraine and Russia thing that kicked it off for me. It was, you know, just, I don't know why, particularly that. I remember a friend sending me a message saying, and he's a bright lad, he's not stupid, and he just sent me one question: Andy, who won the Second World War? And like I said, he's not a stupid person, so I knew he was asking for a reason. So I started to look, and then the more I looked and the more I went down these rabbit holes, the more I weren't liking it. And then you go through that whole stage of anger, frustration, depression, didn't you? Because you're like, everything you believed this nation was is not what you believe it is to be. The whole thing's a lie. And you kind of wake up and you think, oh, gee, and then you look at your kids and you think, well, if I don't start making the noise now, they're going to be balls deep in this fight. You know what I mean? I don't know if they're going to be able to get out of these 15-minute cities, these chips, and, you know, all this, what they're saying they want to do to humanity. You know, will it be too late? So, yeah, I'm like you, Danny. That's why I'm here, for my kids. You know what I mean? Nothing else. I don't care about fame and that or anything like that. I'd rather not be here, but
That's what I say all the time. I say, do you know what? People are like, oh, Daddy. I say, do you know what? I'd rather not. I'd rather not be in the position that I am, you know, because that means that the country was how it used to be. You know, there's none of this stuff going on. So because I am here and I am fighting, it's a bad situation, to be fair. You know, but yeah, it is what it is. And when you go back to history as well, right? It what you just said there, what you said before. Like when people ask you, like the Ukraine, the World War thing and Ukraine wars and all that, and you look back in history. Now, when it started, I looked into a theory called Mackinder theory, right? And he once you win the heartland, you win you take over the world, basically. And it's exactly what's happening now. So I said in 2022, this is what's going to happen. You know, they're fighting over Russia, Ukraine heartland because they want to get into Europe, and they're going to use the BRICS. And I predicted the BRICS will get bigger. It's mental. And it all happened. Yeah. So once you look at history, you can see why it didn't work then. So they're going to try and do it again. The same way as you look at the war cycles, there's always every 1,000 years in the UK, 100 years in the UK. I mean, sorry, there's always some type of uprising or war or something like that, and we can see it now. It's happening now. It's not a war on our streets at the moment, but once we've got rid of 80,000, we've only got 80,000 people in our military. So once we put that over into the Middle East, what have we got to defend ourselves? Nothing. And we've imported, I don't care what people say as well, we've imported an Islamic army, and they're gonna be uprising soon. And I always do say Shamima Begum has been told she is the leader, and that's why there's such a push not to bring her into the country, because when she comes into the country, all the Islamists and the Caliphate people and all them, they know that Shamima Begum is the one to be, she's the general, she's the leader.
Yeah. Like I say, I have a lot of conversations with people, and I have the British flag behind me when I do my live TikToks, and like my symbols, like the British flag with little caricature of me, real Brits, real talk, and I have my England top on. They see this lily white face, and they straight away bang, oh, he's far right, he's this, and like they come on, and I try and have a civil conversation with them, but they try and manipulate my lives a lot. Like they come on, they're like, hi Andy, how are you? Like, and I'm like, yeah, I'm good, and like blah blah blah. Well, you do know that in the Quran it says like we have to abide by the law of the land, Andy. And I'm like, yeah, it does. Also says once you outnumber the people of that land, aren't you to make them submissive to Islam? Oh, I don't know about that, and I don't know about that. But this is your Quran, mate. You've just told me one passage, but why aren't you telling me about this passage? Like, and
that's what they do.
Oh well, yeah. I've got to go now, and I'm like, okay. It's just And I've watched these videos. I've just watched one actually before we come on. 2 full-grown men, Muslim men, walked up to this 15-year-old white, and literally first thing out of their mouth, have you gone to Islam yet? And he's like, sorry, mate, sorry. And they're like, are you Muslim yet? And he's like, no, but my mum's thinking about turning. You can see he's absolutely petrified, and they surround him, like literally, like 3, 4 full-grown men, like just surround him. And I'm like, what are we meant to do? Are we meant to be quiet about this, or because we're scared of being called names, racist, far right, or do we stand?
That's what. Listen, the UK has been very tolerant. English people are very tolerant, too tolerant in my eyes. From the 70s, from Joel Lewis is Margaret Thatcher. I put a lot of things down to Margaret Thatcher. I like her. I'm a conservative, and even they're trying to. Even you're going to hear this a lot as well. When people say I'm a conservative, there's now a consensus of people to say, well, the original conservatives are liberals. So actually, you're a liberal. So that's what they're trying to say now. Anyway, that's beside the point. But Margaret Thatcher, because she stopped football hooliganism, right? She stopped that because, again, it was young men fighting every single weekend. And she knew that these people, if they turned on the government, they'd be in trouble. You know,
Well, they're
you
already
imagine the
united.
firms.
Yeah.
You imagine you get the big DFLA movement that happened, and there were 100,000 people. Imagine you're back in the 70s and 80s. You get 100,000 people all walking down Whitehall because of something's happened, right?
So the FLA gone really quiet. What happened to the FLA? Because
I don't know. It's not my circles, to be fair. I'm not really. I'm not really sure. They came out the other week.
Yeah, saw that one big march, and I've never seen them again.
I think, do you know what it is? It's the same as what you're saying. People have got families. People have got jobs. You know, we're all in our 35s to onwards kind of thing.
Yeah.
See, I'm 43 years old. I'm lucky that I'm a driver. Oh, is it? I'm lucky that I'm a driver because I can get driving jobs anyway. It doesn't really matter. Cut down one, I'll go to another. But a lot of people ain't. A lot of people have spent 35 years in the same job.
Yeah.
They go out on an FLA march, DFLA march, St George's march, whatever march you want to do, and they get called the far right, they get called racist and all that. They're not going to do it again because their employer is going to be like, you shouldn't have done that. And that's what I'm saying about tolerance. People have then sat back and said, well, I can't do it because I've got the house, I've got the mortgage, I need to work, which I understand 100%. But we just got to get rid of that tag and say, do you know what? I don't care. If everyone says, I don't care, call me racist. And that's what my mantra is, kind of thing. It's like, fuck it. You know, let them call you whatever you want to do. You know, don't listen to them. As soon as I get rid of that, then it's fine. Nothing's going to happen. It's starting to come out because, you know, you're having proper liberals, libertarians, people that the ULEZ people, they're now far right. They're now, you know, Sadiq Khan saying that they're far right and blah, blah, they you know, so people are starting to look at it and say, fuck it. You know, it doesn't matter really because we can now say, what about the ULEZ? Are they far right? And you got to think.
You could look at our police force and say, you look like the Nazis back in Germany. You know what I mean? The way you're stopping people and you're just basically what I saw yesterday with that. The ULEZ guys, right? They're clever, they're smart, they're a bit cheeky, they're vandals, but in a good sense. But they're not, they're not a malicious bunch. And to throw a woman on the floor like that, yeah, it just looked like scenes out of Nazi Germany. And I'm really worried. You know, we've got that hate speech thing now in Scotland on that, and I know old silly Soppy Sunak said it's not going to come down here, but will it?
We've already got it. The online police and crime arms bill. That's a hate speech law. We've already got it here. This is where it's extended from. It's just because they've called it something different and they're not going as hard at the moment. They're still going to use it. They'll still use the laws inside of it to oppress us when they need to. It's just they don't need to do it yet. They need it to lay a bit dormant. Like the coronavirus law act when it came out, if you remember, you look at it and it says if you go out, if you've got COVID and you go outside your house, the state is allowed to take away your house and sell it. Right? That was one of the things. They could put you into a facility. They can put you into a hospital. They said, which was going to be a facility. And they made it dormant. It was only because us as a people, we said, nah, we're not having this no more. And we stood up. We actually stopped COVID from being as the tyrants as they were. But now they're just going to use something else. They knew how far they could go. They knew where our levels was, so they couldn't push it anymore. If we'd been a lot more complicit, honestly, you see people have their houses taken away, and then people are like, yeah, it's all right for her to have her house taken away because she had COVID and she went out. You know, so it's they overstepped the mark. They put different things out in different places to see where the people are at. It's just nudge theory, you know. It's just seeing seeing what they can put on. You know, can they do another pandemic? 100% they can. People will forget about COVID and they'll do it again. Yeah, well, you had monkeypox.
Disease X, is it? Disease
X. Disease. That's been around for a long time now, so that hasn't come out properly, but has been always in the background. COVID is still always in the background. They had the monkeypox. They go back to the avian flu. They go back to everything else that they can do, but it's just you've got to find the right one.
Yeah, definitely. So, Reform. Let's talk about them for a second. Do you think they have a chance?
No chance. Oh, do they have a chance?
Yeah.
No. They have a slight in a few areas they will, but they're not designed for. They're not designed for that.
So, like, a lot of people are saying at the moment that they got no chance for this general election. We're going to end up with Labour, and then Labour are going to do their thing for 4 years, and then it will be the rebirth of reform, and they will take this nation. And the Conservatives are basically dead in the water now. Do you think there's any chance of this?
The Tories are dead in its current form. Labour's dead in its current form. The political landscape's dead in its current form. So all reform is there to do is to make sure that the Tories win. Because if you look at it this way, if you look at the Labour membership, and Angela Rayner, the thing with her is very important to this, right? So the Labour membership, they are annoyed with Keir Starmer for wasting away the lead that he had and not supporting Palestine. With them two things, okay, they've lost half of their base, because half of their base is going at the Hamas marches, every single weekend. That's half their base. So they've got rid of them. They've gone. If you look at all these independent people, like the independent mayor of Manchester, his thing is, let's do this for Gaza. You see all these Islamists, okay, in all these places, Oldham, Rochdale, let's do it for Gaza. We're doing it for Gaza. So Labour's not going to win any of that. So Labour's out. They're not going to be the next government. And if they are the next government, it's going to be very, very small turnout and very small win. So with the Tories, now people want to protest, so they'll go to reform. So it doesn't matter, because it's a Tory centric protest group that was made, going back to Nigel Farage. First of all, the Brexit Party, now it's reform. Okay, then, and now you're dancing with Priti Patel. People are saying you could become the next Conservative leader. So is reform a Conservative offshoot, or is it an independent party? It's a Conservative offshoot, just in case a lot of people want to go and not vote for the Tories. They still got control of a group. Okay, so they'll lose a couple of seats, but at the same time, is people who don't want to vote for Keir Starmer, they don't want to vote for the independent because they're not Islamist. Who are they going to vote for? They'll probably vote back to Tory, because there's nothing really left there. So they'll get in through the back door that way by splitting the vote multiple times.
So, I was hoping really that reform got in, because if reform get in and everyone, votes for reform, they get in, that's a lot of pressure and a lot of responsibility for them then to do the right thing, because the whole nation has basically chucked away the old parties and said, right, we're going to give you a chance now, right? So you do what you say you're going to do. You stop these boats, you help our economy, you make Britain great again. That's your slogan. So we're watching, go reform. And that's what I was hoping would happen, to tell you the truth. And if they didn't, then maybe, we spoke about it before, the old Articles 61 and the Magna Carta, and maybe, we spoke to a mutual friend, Nathan. I know you know a lot about him and very knowledgeable on all this. Maybe go down that route if reform can't provide what they say they're going to do. Right. You don't think the Magna Carta holds much weight either, do you?
I don't see it happen. I don't see it happening. So I need to see with my eyes. And obviously, I trust what Nathan says. He's a very good friend of mine, and I've got that wealth of knowledge to try and teach me. Because it's a whole new concept. It's a whole new way of looking at everything. So it's really aligned. So I need to see a few things working for me to then say I'm gonna jump in with both feet. But with the reform side of it, okay, so we've got reform here, for 4 years. They've done the impossible. So now they've got to stick onto their manifesto. Yeah, you agree with that?
Yeah.
So the manifesto is they're going to nationalise the water, the electricity in all these places, and they're going to use the pension funds.
Yeah.
Right. So they're going to destroy the pension funds by taking out all the money and putting it into the water board that needs £1 trillion worth of investment. the electricity companies, who it ain't going to be cheap to buy them and nationalize them back up, and how they're going to get the money back over a short period of time. 4 years it's got to be, okay?
Yeah,
And then you're going to say about immigration, they want one in, one out. So when we've got 400,000 people leaving because it's such a shit country and they've got a bit of money and they want to go to Australia or somewhere like that, you know, another Commonwealth country, then we've got 400,000 people coming in on top, for 4 years. So that's 8. So that's 1.6 million people coming in with 1.6 million people leaving. That's going to shift. That's going to shift the demographics. Okay. Also, we've got a leader who's pro-vaccine. We've got a leader who wants to support the war in Iraq. He wants to use money designated for the British people to give to Zelensky. So this is what, if you vote for reform, people have got to understand you're voting for the destruction of the UK. And that's what it will be, because if you ain't got a pension funds, you ain't got no future. If you ain't got no future, what we're going to do when we're old? What we're going to do when we're old, we've got no pension out. You know, they haven't been able to make the money back on the pensions. The state pensions is rubbish. What we're going to do? Oh, there's one person over there, Madazzle and Matt. He's got an idea, and what he's going to do is what the World Economic Forum want, which is to depopulate the people. How are you going to do that? Just kill all the old people, because there's no pensions anyway.
See, I didn't know that about the pensions. That's the first time I've heard that. If I'd have known that, see, I feel a bit of a fool now, because I've been kind of like screaming about reform and saying, like, you know, this may, but Jesus Christ, it looks like this army's going to have to be formed, Danny. You're going to have to come on the front line with us, bro. You know,
you're off. Am I on? Sorry, am I still on? Wait there, wait there.
You're still here, bro. You're still here. You're still here, mate.
Yeah, go on. I pressed the wrong button.
No, that's all right. I'm just saying, like, you know, maybe like a full revolution is the only way to go then, because we can't have them destroying our pension fund and all that. That's just ridiculous.
But he wants to nationalize, even if he said, all right, cool, we're not going to do the pension funds. He wants to nationalize the water and the electricity that haven't run well for the last 58 years. So what are you going to do? You're going to buy it at what price? Because they ain't going to sell it. The water board ain't going to sell the water back to you at a rubbish price. They want the money. They want a huge dividends. They want trillions. Yeah. So we'll pay that just to bring it into our ownership. To not ever be able to pay it back.
But okay, then let's just say now the Magna Carta falls into line. We form this what's it, Barrier Army?
Yeah. Barron Army.
That's it, Barron Army. And we form this, and we take out the government, because that's basically what it is, isn't it? You take back the wealth to the people. Then what?
Then we've got that decision to make of how we want to make the future, because we can either go back to a democracy, or we can have a republic, and then, you know, but it's just not as easy as that, because there's so many laws and acts and all this has been put into place to prevent this from happening. If we look at the history, now this is what a lot of people don't look at, the British history, right? It's beautiful. It's 1,000 years of history, right? And it's revolutions, wars. We've got civil wars. We've had changing of the throne. It's gone down one line and they've restored it to go. It's beautiful history, right? We've been invaded. It's wicked, but all of that has been based on the common law, right? So we can say, when the peasants, the farmers, the people with their pitchforks, when we come into London and we wanted to speak to, I think it was King James, he refused to speak to the people. I think it was Wat Tyler was the vicar, was the one leading it, and he said he'll only speak to them on the banks of the River Thames, and it has to be like the pole, you know, the punting pole has to be that distance away so he wouldn't get killed. That means the people have the power, so we still have that type of power to take the king and say, you have to address us. But it's about getting that power and getting the people and understanding where it comes from, and that's where Nathan's important, because he can get that message out there. But it's about getting the message out there quickly and effectively as well, because we've you know, I've only got 40 years left probably, you know, and then I've got 10 years activism left. It's got to be in that period of time, because the people coming through, the people coming through are getting weaker and weaker and weaker. And then you got to remember, we've got a whole double generation of people who think that they're cats, dogs, gender neutral, men or girls, boys or and they've got to be government. They've got to be the judges. They're going to be, so it's going to be crazy period of time, and that's a period of time that my daughter and her kids are going to be thriving, apparently. Yes. So no, I can't take that risk. I need to be doing stuff in 10 years' time, and if the common law can't do it, if it gets to a stage, it gets to a point in stage, we've got to pull out. You know, if we can't fix it, we've got to pull it out and let it burn down, and then just forget about the country, because it's, you know, it's not fixable, it's not winnable, or we choose to live in them conditions. That's the choices we'll start having.
Well, that's the point. Is it won't be us living in them conditions? It will be our children, or your
exactly,
kids, or you know, it's them. This is.
Everybody knows a child, right? That's what I try and tell people. Everybody in this country knows a child, right? Whether or not you're related or not, you still know them. So it's their future. Come on.
Yeah, definitely. Like I say it on my lives all the time. Like, if you don't look at your kid's face and have any inspiration to get up and change the future, then you're dead inside, and you might as well just sit on the sofa and just let yourself like be taken over. But I know the heart of Britain is not dead yet, and I hate that expression as well. I get it all the time on my lives. People in the comments, Britain's broken. Britain's broken. Do you know, like you said, our history? We've had the Romans, the Vikings, the French, the Spanish, the Germans. They all fought this at one point in time. That Britain is broke. We've got them. We've got like King Uhtred, sorry. No, Ethelbert, sorry. He was in the swamp for months. The Vikings had 3/4 of England. He was hiding in the swamp, fighting off disease and all sorts. He sent letters to the 4 corners of Britain to form an army, and then drove the Vikings back out. You know, we've been in a lot worse situation than this. Maybe not in our modern time, but in our history, and we've prevailed. We prevailed every time. So,
well, what was the difference? What's the difference between them and us now?
Well, they hadn't been modernized. They hadn't had the
TV
to soften them up.
Corporation and media.
Yeah.
Right. And that's it. Corporations and media have destroyed the country. So now, you know, you send a message. I can send a message to the other side of the world. Right. Get an army. Bring it here. Oh, bro, man, it's too much. I can't do it. And we're not doing it. Men are not built that way anymore. Men will like to. Do you know what? Right? It used to be when I was growing up. You go to the social club with my old man, right? So we go to his work social club. The women and family going one bit, right? And then the men were in another bit, yeah? So you'd always be picking through the little saloon bars and that, and you'd be seeing fights kick off left, right, and centre, right? I'll be seeing my old man fighting like his best mate. What's going on? But that's what it was, because they were so highly charged. The smallest flare would be fighting. But we don't have that now. The smallest flare that goes up, people would rather go to the police and say about hurty words, rather than saying, I'm going to sue you, I'm going to do this, rather than saying, right, you know, let's have it. Meet me at this place and we'll have it in the field.
Well, yeah, that's what it used to be when I was, you know, growing up. If you fell out with someone at school, you knew by dinner time, the whole school knew there was a fight after school. Yeah, you're having it like, and, you know, you'd have the whole school there watching you. And, yeah, your pride and their pride was on the line, but you manned up. You had it out, and whatever happened.
Happens.
Yeah, it never got. It never got to the point it is now, where kids nowadays they get bullied, and the first thing they want to do is cry, just cry about it. And I'm grateful because my boys have got quite a big family around them, and like they're just not allowed to be like that.
Yeah,
it's just not allowed. So we're all quite old school in my household, though. So they're quite lucky.
That's the same here. Even though I've got the little one, you know, it's not. It's she's been brought up as a boy, and she's gonna stay a girl. So you know, that's the way it is.
But you'll bring your daughter up to have some dignity and some pride for herself, you know, and that's another thing I feel these young generations, they got no pride. and they mix pride with ego straight away. They don't really know what honour is no more, or loyalty, you know.
Mm.
And these things are what our bloodlines have survived on. Let's face it, because back in the day, your honour and your dignity was everything.
Yeah,
Your family's name was everything, and that's how our bloodlines have survived through time, because we had a bit of now start up. You know, I always say to everyone, do you realise from the beginning of time to right now, how many times your bloodline could have been wiped out?
exactly. And that's exactly what it is. You know, you're fighting. You have to fight. Now you don't have to fight. You know, now you're in trouble if you fight. You know, you can be in serious trouble if you do it. But back in the day, that's the way you had to do things, and that's what changes the society. That's why we can never have a true revolution, because there's not going to be enough men that are willing to do stuff. I say things all the time. I'm typing things out and I'm ranting and whatever, and then people are saying, "Well, Danny, you shouldn't have really said that, should you?" I'll be like, "Why are you coming to me like that?" Do you know what I mean? That I shouldn't have said that. And then I reread it and I think, well, you know, maybe someone's going to take that the wrong way. You know, maybe someone's going to do X, Y, and Z. You know, it is what it is. But I'm the type of person that's like, you know, it's death before dishonor. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
you
I'm the same,
it,
but yeah.
you want to come to me, you want to come to my family, you want to do something, then be prepared. You know, I'm not gonna just be prepared for it. You know,
Yeah,
and that's
exactly.
what more people need to be, but they're not, because a lot of it is when they took the discipline away from the parents. Now, imagine a government saying to the parents, you can't discipline your kid how you want, because if you do it a certain way, or they become scared, or they go to their teachers and say blah blah blah, you can have your kids taken away. So the power's now with the kids, right? And that's where the loyalty is. There's no loyalty. There's no looking up to your elders. I remember elderly people, you know, I don't even know who they are, but they say, "Yeah, no, my old man, and you're misbehaving in the street," and I'll be like, "Sorry, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I promise I'll be good again," and blah blah blah. It was no
yeah.
fuck off. I do what I want. It was none of that, because there was a hierarchy of respect. So
Right, so there was an old boy at the end of our road. I'll never forget him. And we used to play knockdown ginger. He was a grumpy old boy, and we're young. We used to play knockdown ginger on his door, and he'd always come out and say the same thing. "Oh, you saucy buggers!" So we would say, we'd call him the HP man. Like, anyway, one day, one of the kids, like, as he's opened the door, has thrown a big chunk of mud, like lawn, and it's gone right up his hallway. And everyone's run off. Anyway, my dad's found out about it, and he actually got told that it was us, me and my
yeah,
brother, that threw it. Mate, he dragged me by my hair up the street, made me knock on the door and apologise. And the old boy opened the door and went, "Oh, no, no, Les, it wasn't him who threw it. It was the other." And my dad just literally dropped me and went, "Oh, right, okay. Well, sorry this has happened to you, Solid," and just left me on a heap on the floor. But you know what? I never played knockdown ginger on that bloke's house again.
innit? Do you
Never.
know what I mean? Exactly. These things work. These things work for people.
Yeah, that's what I mean. A bit of discipline, you know. Obviously, there's a line. You know, we're not advocating anything bad here, but
No,
this
I'm not
discipline is
advocating anything
discipline.
bad. Yeah,
Yeah,
but a strong discipline is a strong discipline. It
yeah,
yeah, it sorts people out, doesn't it?
yeah,
You know,
exactly. You know,
at the
there's
end
got
of
to
the
be a
day,
line. I say to my kids all the time, like, you know, I've got a rule in my household. So I'll ask you once nicely. So can you pick that up, please? Then I'll tell you. And if you still haven't done it after I've told you, then the third option, you don't really want that. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Because all hell's coming loose. Because I just feel like you've just completely disrespected me. And
yeah,
my wife's always, all the time, "Oh, and you're too harsh. You're too hard." I'm not like, but then I'll have the 9-year-old a week later screaming at her, shouting, "Da da da!" And I say, "Well, you imagine if I went there, and he's 16 now, and he's
mm,
shouting at you. You know what I mean? There has to
exactly.
be that line. The kids have to know that there's a line in life, and because if the dad doesn't teach it to them, I say this as well, and they go out with this attitude into the world that they are invincible, then they will come up against the wrong type of person, and then God help them, you know. But it's all about social
Exactly.
skills.
And no one's got social skills because you've got social media. You know, again, it's something that we never had. You know, and people. I like looking at on the old TikTok about Generation X. You know, I do like looking at these things because what we considered as normal, right? Going out 11, 12, going out at 8 o'clock, knocking up all your mates, going 4 or 5 miles to the to the woods or whatever, playing all day, coming back at night time. These types of stuff, we now can say, hang on a minute, that they wouldn't survive if they had to do that. You know, kids now. So it installed something into us, you know. We had to look out for each other. We had to make sure, you know, plenty of times it's like, oh no, what are we gonna do? We've got no mobile phones. Someone's come off their bike, like quite badly. Now we've got to improvise. How can we sort this broken leg out? Do you know what I mean? Because clearly it's in the wrong direction. So we've got to do that. We had all that without technology, without phones, without, you know, and the same types of people are about, you know. You're still going to get the pedos. You're still going to get the people that want bad, the kidnappers and all that. But we were maintaining ourselves in such a way that it doesn't matter. We could sort ourselves. And now the same people, us, are struggling with social media, or struggling with technology. But you look at the kids, they're shit on technology, but they've struggled out in the real world. And that's the problem. That's where they can keep you. Because if they say to the kids, right, you got to join up to the metaverse and you've got to do all this, everything's digital and we'll sort everything out for you, or we're going to chuck you out into the fields. They're going to shit themselves and they'll do whatever the government says. Because they'll be like, I can't grow my food. I can't make a shelter. I can't make a pen.
I was up the woods with about 6, 7, 17-year-olds. We had the motorbikes out. And I was fiddling with the bikes. I said, oh, we're going to be here for a few hours, boys. Make a fire. And I carried on tinkering with the bikes. Anyway, I turned around about 5 minutes later, and all four or five of us stood there in a circle, all discussing how you make a fire. And I looked at them and I went, none of you know how to make a fire. And they were like, well, we've never had to make a fire. I was like, you're shitting me. You're like 15, 16-year-olds, and none of you have ever gone to the woods. Like, it's literally 10 minutes down the road, and you've never come up here and made a fire and had a cheeky fag. And they're like, no. And I thought, oh my God, man. Like, what is this generation? You know?
Exactly.
Like, they don't even know how to build a basic campfire.
Exactly. They don't know basics of any type of land crafts, you know. At least if I got chucked out, and you know, we'll learn sometime this year. If I got chucked out in the middle of some land, I think I've got the knowledge of getting myself somewhere just by looking around with no maps or whatever, but just looking at our surroundings. But
that's it. You find a river, you know that's going to a sea, but the kids would never know this.
All they do is you know, that's my phone, that's where I am, and I go there and I don't have to worry about, you know, where the rivers go to, you know, what's on the other side of the hill and the mountains and all that type of stuff, you know, what direction the cows are facing in, are they laying down, it's going to shit down and rain, all that kind of stuff.
Exactly. Like simple things for us as kids, going to knock for someone at the door, you know, to go out to play. You have to think about, right, is it too early in the morning? Because I'm going to get shouted at by their parents. You know, as you're walking to that person's house, you're thinking, right, who's going to answer? Will it be the mum, the dad? You know, and you'd prepare yourself, wouldn't you? You know, oh, if it's that, you know, I'll have to be nice and polite, and your parents will tell you better be polite when you're going around. Now they just text each other.
Exactly.
It's just there's no interactions, is there?
No, there ain't none. And that kills the society. You know, I don't care how good social media is, how good technology is and whatnot. That basic principle of having to go out and deal with other people, including your friends, to survive, to have a good time. You know, to be bored. Yeah, to have the feeling of, oh no, we're all bored. What are we gonna do? Oh, let's go and build something. Let's go and do something. You know, now you can't get bored really because there's something to do. You can find something that will entertain you, even short or long term. And yeah, it is just that it's everything really. Do you know what I mean? It's important. That type of stuff was important for us, and not being able for our parents as well, not being able to contact us all day and not worrying. That was the thing. My mum never used to worry when I got back at 5 o'clock. And she'd be annoyed that I didn't come back for lunch. But you know, she'd be like, "Quiet, you're back." She wasn't worried. She'd be worried if it was 8 o'clock.
Yeah, when it
But
gets
anything
dark.
can happen. Yeah, but anything can happen during 6 hours.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? Anything can happen. If you think it's crazy, if we think about it now in modern terms, it's absolute crazy. Right?
yeah,
People would have us up for fucking child abuse. How we grew up. We grew up
yeah.
fine. You know, it was absolutely fine.
My dad was a train driver, so we'd get a train pass, and all you had to do is put a date on it, and you could travel the country for free. So I
Fucking
remember
hell.
I was 10, my brother was 9. We decided, I don't know why, but we're going to London for the day. And we literally just jumped on the train, 10-year-old, 9-year-old, off we went to literally London, Victoria. I remember walking out the station, seeing a big ice cream vendor. He did this massive ice cream with melted chocolate on the top. We ate them, jumped on the train and went home. My mum thought we'd been up the field playing. You know, she didn't have a clue where we were. But yeah,
Exactly.
you wouldn't get away with that nowadays, would you?
Nah, of course you wouldn't. Of course you
Britain,
wouldn't.
you know, Britain's just not as safe as it was, and that, you know, it goes
I don't
back
think
to
it's as safe. I don't think it's even. Yeah, it has got more violent in certain aspects, but you know, I think kids could counter that by having a bit more, you know, thinking about stuff. Like the blacks killing the blacks in South London and all around East London and all these things. Yeah, you can deal with it. There is ways that they can deal with it, but it involves the people of the community, the elder people, to be talking to the younger children and saying, "Listen, you got to deal with things differently and working it out," kind of thing, and that respect. But you know, once you haven't got that respect, you're a bit done for, aren't you?
yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, you know, we had youth centres and we had these places when we were younger. There's nowhere for these guys to go now, and well, look at the influences they've got to look at. You know, it goes
Exactly.
back,
You know.
you know, back to the TV and all that. We had kind of like people we could look up to, and we kind of idolised. They've got none of this now. All they've got is these content creators just pushing an agenda on them. You know, be a cat, be a mouse, be whatever you want. It doesn't matter. But the one thing you're not allowed to do is be an absolute unit with some common sense and a bit of pride and loyalty and dignity. We don't
Exactly.
want that, but anything else goes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You could be as perverse as you want. Yeah. You could be as wild as you want. But if you want to be a normal, you know, 14-year-old, no, ain't having that. We'll just call you far right as a kid. We'll just call you. You support Andrew Tate. You support this. You like Tommy Robinson. You like England. You like nationalism. You're far right, mate.
Yeah.
We're gonna put you on the prevent list, and then we're gonna get your teachers to tell your parents all these bad stories and whatnot. Your parents are gonna be like woke anyway, probably, so they're gonna believe the teachers, and that's it. You're grounded for life.
So I'm gutted because it's literally going to cost me a whole new wardrobe because I've got to shun Nike now, Adidas, and any other fucking company or organisation that feels like it can just come in and change our national flags, and we're all meant to be happy about it. I'm boycotting a lot of them, and it's going to cost me an absolute fortune now. But it's going to be done in my household. I've told all my kids, everyone, Nike, all that, they're done in this household. They're gone. My 17-year-old, he literally hides his Nike trainers because he's terrified I'm going to burn them.
You're gonna burn them. They're gonna be gone. They're gonna be gone.
They're going on the fire, boy. He's like, no. But yeah, they're gone, man. I was like, you know, obviously I haven't got the money to rush out and buy a new wardrobe. So, but over
Bit by
time,
bit.
yeah, they're not getting my money no more. And I've been a loyal fan to Nike. God, have I over the years.
Yeah, over the years, I think a lot of people have as well. A lot of people in the south because it's more Adidas, more is up north, I think. to be fair. Nike is more down here, but
Yeah.
you know, once they take the mick and they overstep the mark, like what they're like, oh, it doesn't matter because it's the Union, the Union Jack has been changed so many times for different campaigns or whatnot, and it's like you're not getting it. It's the St George's flag for one, right, and for two is the colours. Yeah, this is what I said about Balenciaga, right? When Balenciaga happened and we took over the stores or whatnot, right? Before that, I was telling people it didn't just happen overnight. This has to go through multiple people and lawyers and thingy. I'm doing a few things at the moment where, you know, there's loads of paperwork and there's loads of stuff going on, right? And it's like nothing can get past it, right? Do you know what I mean? You can't just accidentally put something in there. You know what I mean? Let's just fuck off Islam, right? Put it in there without them knowing, because they will. And it's the same. It's the same as Nike. They're gonna have to go through it and say these colours are a bit close to, you know, the bisexual colours and the maps and all that. It's a bit close.
That England flag. That is the bisexual flag, isn't it?
Yeah, it is 100%. It's the colours are the same. You look at it, you can't even say it's similar. The colours are the same blending. Yes, you might put it to something in 1960 or whatever they want to try and do, but that was different to what you're doing now. And what you're doing now is bisexual flag or whatever perverted thing you're doing on the St George's flag. It's not just like on the Three Lions. You could why do you do it on the Three Lions?
Yeah,
you know, Three Lions is nothing as in, you know, it's traditional, but it's nothing as our country. So if you want to do it, why don't you do Three Lions?
Yeah, exactly.
You didn't. You chose the Union Jack. You chose the St George's flag because, you know, you don't want the national identity. But come back and fit them.
But these corporations, you know, this is what everything's getting twisted now. See, Nike, you started as a company to sell us trainers. Now, if we like your trainers and your product, we will buy them. I don't know where this switch has happened, where all of a sudden these corporations are now setting genders and setting ideologies and all this, and you know, influencing the world. Like, when did you get this power? Who gave it to you? And where do I get some? You know, it's just madness.
Yeah, it is. It is total madness. But I do think Nike. I looked into it a little bit, and I do think Nike, as always, if you look at the most richest people, Nike is not up there, right? It's not up there where you think it would be, because it's more a brand, and it's more like an influencer in itself. You know. Then rather going out to saying I'm going to be a standalone company. You see a lot of people do like a lot of football teams, a lot of kit people, a lot of, so that's where they make most of their money. But it's not like, I see it as more as an influencer, and that's what that's all they're doing. And they do that. They do try and influence people, influence the kids. They tell us what to wear, and we buy it for like a pair of trainers for £110. Well, it's not that anymore. It's about £150.
Yeah, that's it.
And then they take the piss.
Yeah. So I'm going to have to get used to this whole live streaming. I've had loads of comments, and I haven't got my glasses on, guys. So I've been struggling to read them. I don't think there's any actual questions, but next time we do this, we'll fire out some questions from people, because I know a lot of people, Danny, they're loving you, bro. They love you. They love your content. I know you're quite new to TikTok, though, aren't you?
No, not to TikTok. No? I keep getting burnt. I keep getting I keep getting nuked. I get bananas all the time. Let me just see all the comments on there. No, it's not. I'm not new to TikTok, but do you know what it is? And again, right? I realized I was like TikTok, China, I'm never gonna allow it to happen, right? Then I put a couple of content out, and it was getting nowhere. Then I put like a very nationalistic video out, and it went through the roof. Then I did it again, and then I was doing it deliberately, right? I did it on Father's Day. I did like this was to all the fathers on that day, and then on the same day later on, I did a very nationalistic. Come on, we've got to take back our country, blah blah blah, and that went through the roof. So then I realised TikTok is here to destabilize the UK, right? The West. He wants to destabilize the West. Right, and the way it's doing it is it's bringing a national pride and a national spirit, because it's going to be against the government, right? So they're going to allow this kind of two-tieredness in the country, right, to try and get more pride into people. So I'm like, I'll use it for that. I'll literally use it for that. But then I get to like, I was getting 200,000 views every video I was putting up. And then they just bananas me, man. They just said there's a Tommy Robinson post, there's an Andrew Tate post in one day, and a post that I did when I got run over by a disabled guy in a fucking wheelchair. Them three in one day just took away it. I was like, I'm not doing it again. And then I did it. This is the last one, the one I'm on now. So,
oh, well, I'm glad you did, man. And I suppose we should give out Crumpet a little shout out as well.
Yes, Crumpet,
because she united us, and I'm very grateful for that. Well, I won't keep you no longer, Danny, because I know you are a busy man, and it is Sunday night, and you should get some peace in your life and go spend with your family. But thank you for doing this, bro, and hopefully we can do it many more times.
100%. Thank you for having me.
No, the pleasure's mine, mate. Like I say, on behalf of everyone that knows what's going on, thank you for having a voice for all of us for this time. And yeah,
we're all doing it though. That's the thing. Yeah, we're all doing what we can. We're all doing what we can do, and that's what's important for everyone. You know, it's all I can see. I didn't see the comments before, but now I can see all the comments. But I've seen a lot of people on it, right? See, like Lawful, like Nathan's doing it for the common law, right? We've got Dupes, big up Dupes, yeah, the queen of YouTube, right? Yeah. She's never gonna say it, yeah, but she is. She's the queen of YouTube, you know, and she does what you do as well. It has a conversation with everyone. You know, we've got all sorts of people from TikTok and whatnot, and it's everyone doing their individual bit, the cogs for the bigger cog to spin.
Exactly.
Because not one person could do it, not three people could do it. So I only literally say, you know, the truth, but what people like, you know, white people or whatever can't really say without getting the far right thing. But then they're starting to, because they're like, fuck it. Do you know what I mean? Even if it annoys them that I'm doing it and it makes them come out and say it, I'm good, because I'm getting a conversation started and everyone's having a conversation, and soon we'll be good. But we definitely got a choice.
Well, I will be in touch. I will message you. We'll set up another day, and I will see you on social media, my friend.
I'll see you on the 23rd.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
That's what it is. 23rd's coming, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh, yeah. Sorry,
it's only what?
Bad.
It's only a couple of weeks away.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, that's my next big thing. Yeah, I've got another podcast with a guy called Truth and Rights. He goes on about how he got his daughter a passport without a birth certificate, all to do with the common law thing once again. But we're going to go down that conversation. But yeah, 23rd, I'm so looking forward to it. And I hope everyone turns up, because this really is our chance to say we are united to everyone. So yeah.
I think they will turn up, but at the same time, we can see now that Tommy said this week that even though he's not behind it and he's not doing it, obviously he's a face, and he's going to be allowed into London. So they're trying to do their bits to adjourn the court case, so he can't go into London, and that will put off people. But him there or not there, it makes no difference. St. George is our patron saint, and we ain't going to let no one take that away from us.
No, that's
and
it.
Especially with that paedophile flag. Do you know what I mean? Never let them do it.
That's it.
Never.
Well, thank you, Danny, once again. You've been
You're
an
welcome.
Absolute pleasure, man. For everyone that don't know, go on TikTok, get on his new account. What is it? Just Danny Rasco?
Yeah, it's all there in the top here. It's all here. Daniel,
there you go.
Whatever.
Give him a shout, build his count back up, and I will see you on the road of freedom, my friend, and I will definitely see you on the 23rd.
100%.
All right, take care, Danny.
And you, mate.
All right.